On SolarQuotes TV this month, solar innovation. What's new in solar in 2021? Inverter face-off, innovative micro-inverters put to the test. How Australia became the world's biggest solar innovator. We go inside a smart home of the future. We talk to a solar installer with a difference on the other side of the world. All that and a big SolarQuotes announcement on SolarQuotes TV. Hello and welcome. This month we're looking at innovation. What's new and innovative in solar in 2021? But before we go there, let's take a very quick look at the greatest innovation of them all, in my humble opinion. I started in the solar industry in 2007. Back then, a grand total of 1,115 teeny tiny solar power systems were in operation across Australia. Early adopters were paying about $10,000 for a 1 kilowatt array on their roof, and systems would take 30 years to pay back their cost. Fast forward just 14 years and there are almost 3 million solar systems in use, with an average size approaching 10 kilowatts. Today, in 2021, if you pay $10,000, you can get a top quality 10 kilowatt system. The cost of quality installed solar has dropped by 10 times in 14 years, and we've gone from 0.01% to almost 30% of Aussie homes having solar panels. Australia has the cheapest residential solar in the world and the highest uptake. How did we get here? With the rarest of rare things, an innovative government scheme that's actually worked. Believe it or not, it all started with this rabid greenie.
Australia will more than play its part to address climate change.
In May 2007, 6 years after he created the renewable energy target, Liberal Prime Minister John Howard announced an $8,000 rebate for anyone installing solar panels. At a stroke, climate change denying John Howard had reduced the simple payback for solar from at least 30 years to a much more attractive 5-ish years. That's the innovation that kicked off the solar boom in Australia. It was improved over the next 5 years by subsequent Labor and Liberal governments until it settled on the SRES scheme, which offers a point of sale discount that reduces gracefully over the next 10 years until it zeroes out in 2031. This rebate, paid for by polluting energy retailers, has launched thousands of solar install companies, mostly good, but a few bad ones too. And over 14 years, they've honed their installation chops to become incredibly efficient at what they do. It's a big reason that we get for 5,000 Aussie dollars what costs Americans $20,000 to put on their roofs. Now, I'm no fan of government, but credit where credit is due. The scheme that became known as simply the solar rebate has got to be one of the most innovative and successful solar subsidies anywhere in the world. Thanks, John Howard. Now, how about believing in global warming, eh? Now, to our David versus Goliath field test, where we see how Enphase micro-inverters perform against the much-hyped new Fronius Gen 24 inverter.
We're here in the suburb of Richmond, South Australia, where there's been a rarely detailed inverter study going on, specifically testing the Fronius Gen 24 versus Enphase IQ7 Plus micro-inverters. Solar nerd gold, right? I'm here with Sam Kraft from NRG Solar. Sam, what exactly have you been up to here?
Over the last 3 months, we've been watching how the systems react to different types of shade and which ones perform better under certain circumstances.
So the theory that we've all been taught, and that, to be honest, I've been telling everyone for 10 years, is that if you have a string inverter and a bunch of solar panels on that string, and you shade one of those solar panels, it brings the whole string down. Is that what you're seeing?
Well, that's what we've all been told, but that is definitely not what we've been seeing.
Oh, that's really interesting. So we're going to be running 2 tests to answer the question, which type of inverter handles shade better? A good string inverter or a good micro inverter? So we're going to be testing big shade and little shade. So I thought to myself, what are the 2 biggest obstacles to solar energy in Australia? And the answer was obvious. Number 1 is Matt, I love cold Canavan. Number 2 is Angus, don't worry guys, I've got this, Taylor. So those are our big obstacles, and now we're going to need 2 little obstacles. So on the same theme, I've got Matt Canavan's hand and I've got Angus Taylor's hand. And that's just to shade one cell, whereas this one will shade multiple cells. So you've been doing this really in-depth study for many months. You've put an enormous amount of time and effort into it, but at SolarQuotes, we don't do things like that. We want to get results in real time in the next 20 minutes. What do you reckon?
Let's do it.
So the panels have got no shade on them at all. We've got 2.7 kilowatts on the Enphase. And what's that one, Sam?
2.82 now.
Oh, so they're bouncing around. Sometimes the Enphase is winning, sometimes the Fronius is winning. They're within, what, 200 watts of each other. I think we've got to call that a draw with the no shade situation. Let's see what happens when we put a little bit of shade on each string. I'm going to put this over 2 half cells, which in theory will reduce the current in one of the strings of cells. And the theory is that the reduced current from that panel on the Fronius will flow through to all the other panels, but it won't affect the other panels on the Enphase. We're going to see if that's true.
I'm here at the Fronius string and I'm going to place this onto the top corner of the panel.
We've waited 10 minutes for the PowerPoint tracking algorithms to settle down a bit. And what's yours saying, Sam? Mine's at 3 kilowatts exactly.
3.19 kilowatts.
So they are bouncing around a bit. The Fronius is slightly beating the Enphase, but within the margin of error. So the string inverter's handling that little bit of shade amazingly well. I'm not sure that's what the micro-inverter fanboys like me want to see. Now the really exciting bit, it's time to get the big guns out and see what big shade does to the string inverter versus the micro-inverters. So we're going to put the big shade object smack in the middle of the solar panels, and we're going to do that because these are half-cut solar panels which each have 6 cell strings, 3 at the top, 3 at the bottom, and I want to take out all 6 strings of cells. Okay, Angus, do your worst.
Finn's just put his picture on the Enphase system and I'm going to put Matt here on the Fronius.
So we're giving it 10 minutes. What's yours saying, Sam, on the Fronius?
3.21 kilowatts.
I'm doing 3.12 kilowatts. So again, within 100 watts. That's really interesting. That Fronius is handling the shade as well as, if not better, than the microinverter. So the question we asked for this month's field test was, what type of inverter handles shade better? The Enphase microinverters or the Fronius Gen 24 string inverter? We put a teeny tiny leaf-sized bit of shade on 2 of the half cells. Again, couldn't see a difference between the microinverters and the string inverter. And then we put a much bigger shade object covering all 6 of the cell strings on these half-cut panels. And yet again, the Fronius, the Enphase, within 100 watts of each other. So Sam, that goes against conventional thinking. I've been telling porky pies for the last 10 years.
So is the industry.
So obviously, this was a fairly shallow test. If you want to see detailed results taken over months, the company that Sam works for, NRG Solar, have got an amazing in-depth video and we'll link to that in the description. Check it out. As I said, there's a much more scientific and detailed experiment in the video from NRG in the description. After our test, Eddie May rocked up and he did this, which just goes to show kids, cricketers and solar don't mix. As solar and in-time batteries become more and more part of our everyday lives, people are increasingly investing in smart homes. Homes programmed to maximize self-consumption of solar.
Hello, my name is Tomislav Bojanovic. I'm from Gawler, South Australia, and welcome to our home. From outside, it might look a little bit daggy, but from inside, we got a lot of things to unwrap and show you. Firstly, we put solar, then we realized that we got too much solar, so we put the batteries in. Then batteries couldn't be filled up, so we got a card to help us out. Now we don't have enough solar again, so there is a problem.
I'm Rachel Bojanovic, married to Tom, and as well as the solar and the battery and the car that we had to get to capture everything else, we've got a few devices that help make our life a little bit easier in terms of understanding what's happening with our energy. So we've got a Zappy car charger, which helps us charge the car. We've got Watt Watchers, which is a monitoring system that helps us know how we're using electricity in the house. And we've got a switched-in device which lets us turn things on and off or control the battery and control the solar.
The switched-in device that we purchased for the reason of curtailing our solar, because at the beginning of our journey we're realizing that too much solar being on a spot market as we are with our retailer will costing us a lot of money. So for export of 28 kilowatt hours, once we paid $8 a penalty. So we are fully exposed to the market and switched in device really so to help us manage those costs and also kind of take advantage of the negative pricing. 2 weeks ago we had negative prices for quite extended time and the weather wasn't that good, so we were able to charge our battery, car and a home at the same time at negative price. So pretty much we were paid to consume the energy. And now we're actually using it to monitor and control the battery because we don't want our car to charge off the sun and battery while it's charging during the day, for example.
In the house, I think that we can see about 8 or 10 different layers of things. We can see what the solar's producing, what our whole house is using, what the battery's doing. But as well as that, we can see what the hot water system is doing, what the dishwasher's doing, what the oven is doing, what our little entertainment, like basically the lounge room stuff is doing, and what the laundry is doing. So yeah, we end up being those people who can actually tell when the kids are having a party because stuff's on and it shouldn't be. In
terms of cost, we were lucky that we were able to qualify for South Australian home battery scheme. The system like this would normally cost anything between $15,000 to $20,000. Our system, I think, cost us overall with the charger around $11,000. It's very hard to sort of talk about payback because now we have a car, so we don't go anymore to the petrol station, which is kind of in addition to this. I hope you feel energized with all this information we shared with you.
And, or empowered.
Or empowered. And like our home is open for everybody. If you're stuck in Gawler and don't have anywhere to charge your car, there's a free charging point here, so welcome.
Thank you for all the YouTube comments. Here's one from Aaron Sparrow. How much did Tesla pay you to continually sell their product? It seems they appeared in every segment in some capacity. Is this a genuine review for all batteries available to us consumers or aim to push Tesla Powerwall? I'm in the market for an Australian option. Thanks for the comment, Aaron. I would suggest you go and you have a look at our blog, scroll back to when it really kicked off and the first post that I wrote that was popular, which was heavily criticizing the Tesla Powerwall 1 warranty because it was a bit of a joke. It got quite a lot of airplay in America because I pointed out how bad the warranty was. Tesla really freaking hated me for it. Trust me, that was back when Tesla had a PR department. I was public enemy number 1 to those guys. Then I sneaked into the Tesla Powerwall 2 launch in Melbourne and I listened to the then head of Tesla Energy, or Solar City at the time, who claimed that you could get an 8% return for your money if you bought a Tesla Powerwall 2. I wrote a blog post that said that's absolute bullshit. Again, Tesla PR freaking hated me. We have a reputation in the Australian solar industry for being anti-Tesla, which is a bit ridiculous because I drive a Tesla car and I've got a Tesla Powerwall too. But there are a lot of problems with Tesla. I think the problem is they think the ends justify the means, and their means, when they're exaggerating about their products, can be a bit dodgy in my opinion. So I call out Tesla when they say bullshit and I praise them when they do good things. The good things they do, their products, in my opinion, are freaking awesome. The Tesla Powerwall 2 is amazing. And I'm sorry there were a lot of shots of a Tesla Powerwall 2 in the last SolarQuotes TV, but that's what I've got at my house and we're on a bit of a budget and we're on a bit of time pressure, so you're gonna see a lot of shots of that Tesla Powerwall 2. But I hear what you're saying. We will try and get footage of other batteries. The problem is most people have Tesla Powerwall 2s. But hey, thanks for the comments. I just want to clear that up. Also, go to Google, search battery comparison table. You'll see we compare every battery we know of on the Australian market. Have a look there. There must be 24 batteries there, including a bunch of Australian ones. Compare the specifications. If you want an Australian battery, go for it. Last month, we were in Mudgee. The month before, Tassie. But this month, we're going global for Installer Profile with a Difference. We're taking you to India to talk about Pollinate, a fantastic Australian charity that is helping bring solar to some of the poorest regions in the world. Hello to Praveen in Hyderabad, who installs solar systems like this. Hi Praveen.
Hi Finn, and thanks SolarQuotes for your support of Pollinate Group's work over the past few years. I'm talking to you from Desert Community, which is located in Hyderabad, India. Pollinate was founded in 2012 by a group of 6 university students from Australia. The students traveled to Bangalore and saw that the people living without access to electricity, running water and reliable communication. So the students decided to recruit local sales agents called pollinators to provide these communities with access to reliable and affordable clean energy.
So Praveen, just how many solar systems like this have been installed in the community?
So since 2012, our sales agent have distributed over 200,000 clean energy products like solar fans, solar lights and solar home systems to improve the lives of over 70,000 people living in poverty.
So how many tons of emissions have been avoided by installing these tiny little panels?
By replacing traditional sources of energy like kerosene and biomass with these clean energy products, our communities have become safer, healthier and cleaner. Our products have also had a great impact on the environment by saving more than 60,000 tons of carbon dioxide emissions.
Can you tell us about the decision that was made by Pollinate in 2018?
In 2018, to only recruit women in our sales agent network. Since this time, we have trained more than 900 women in successfully sell clean energy products in their communities.
What are some of the benefits to the community of products like this?
Before joining Pollinate as Suryamukhi, she had very less connections and now she learned business skills. Now she is confident enough to start a new business venture. Thank you so much, Lakshmi Garu. And thank you so much, Finn. Thank you so much, SolarQuotes, for letting us share our work in India with you.
Thanks, Praveen. You guys really are small installers making a big difference. SolarQuotes has been supporting Pollinate for the last 2 years. And over those last 2 years, thanks to people like you getting quotes, we've been able to contribute over 130,000 Australian dollars to help get these products in the communities and train up those female entrepreneurs so they can have thriving businesses that help some of the poorest people in the world install solar. Now this is working out for me just fine. Again, I'm handing on my 2 minutes of solar tech to someone else. Last week, it was Simon Hackett from Redflow. This week, it's Cameron Knox from Pollinate Energy, a really innovative company that one day may just deliver solar energy to your apartment. Over to you, Cameron.
Thanks, Finn. So Pollinate is a Melbourne-based company committed to making rooftop solar accessible to people who have traditionally been missing out. Namely, we focus on the over 2 million Australians living in low-rise apartments with the roof space for solar but no affordable way to get access to it. With rooftop solar being so financially and environmentally compelling in Australia, we didn't think this was fair. So we built the SolShare, which is the world's first and only behind-the-meter solar sharing system. It allows a single rooftop solar system to be optimally shared by separately grid-connected and separately metered units within that building. For the first time, making rooftop solar easy to install on small apartment buildings. The SolShare works by monitoring and responding to the instantaneous usage of each of the units that are connected to send them their solar allocation at a time and to a quantity that maximises their savings. The SolShare is made here in Melbourne and has been recognised by the Clean Energy Council Innovation Award. It's already extended rooftop solar to over 1,000 apartments in Australia, and we are set to double that by the end of this year. We're also excited to be bringing this Aussie invention to the world with current implementations underway in both the US and the UK.
With over 22 million Americans living in low-rise multifamily buildings and over 40% of Europe in the same boat, we didn't see a world where it continued to be the case that such a large portion of the global population were missing out on access to rooftop solar. So we're really excited to be driving that change.
So if you're a community housing provider or a property developer looking to extend cheaper, cleaner power to your customers or tenants, we would love to speak to you. That's me out of time. Thanks for the opportunity to chat, Finn. Hopefully I can get over to Adelaide at some stage soon and catch up. I'm looking forward to getting more solar on apartments over there too. Thanks, guys.
If you're as obsessed about solar tech as I am, you can read for hours on our blog at solarquotes.com.au and click on the blog link. Now it's time for Where's Ned, the segment where we try and track down our reviewer of reviews. Ned, where are you this week?
Finn, can't you see I'm busy doing research? I'm here at Adelaide's Museum of Discovery, MOD for short. I thought, what better place to look for innovation? And I've also got a review of the month for you, as always. This one comes in from Roslyn. It's a review of Longi panels. It goes something like this. I got 10 kilowatts of Longi panels with PERC monocrystalline half cells installed by Uni Industries. Even the installer said they were an excellent panel. I've heard they say they are top of the range for Chinese solar panels. Panels on 3 strings to the 8 kilowatt SunGrow inverter. No problem so far. While there may be better panels out there, considering the price of my system, I considered it would be cheaper to replace these, if required, than buy a system for double the price. Plus, if I did have to do this, I end up with a more modern system. I encourage you to do the math. Well, that's the review from Rosalind. She gave 5 stars to those Longi panels. Now I'll continue to do the maths here and play with my little gadgets. Back to you, Finn.
Thanks to everyone that followed us on Instagram after we pleaded for more followers last month. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you'll never miss another episode of SolarQuotes TV. And I'm joined once again by our blogger extraordinaire, Mr. Ronald Brackles, always full of ideas. What are you hiding behind your chair, Ronald?
Oh, I've been working on my own version of the most hype innovation of the 21st century.
What's that?
Blockchain. Oh yes, and that's a very realistic assessment of it.
I think you might need to keep working on it.
I think the best thing we can do is just give up on it and throw it out.
No. Blockchain. I know all about this. I've read about it.
Oh, you read about it?
Amazing innovation. It's going to transform buying and selling of energy. What you can do is you can put your electricity on the blockchain, and then when you have surplus solar, you can sell it into the grid and it's blockchained, and then someone can buy it out of the grid, also blockchained, and then you know that your solar's been sold to those guys. No one can cheat you. You know exactly where it's gone. They know exactly where it's come from. They know that it's clean and that it's green because it's blockchained, and it's going to change the world, mate. It's brilliant.
What? Sorry?
There's companies worth gazillions of dollars that have created a blockchain of energy.
Okay, and are they doing anything that wasn't already happening?
I agree with you, actually.
Oh.
It's absolute horseshit.
Well, yeah.
The way I see it is, I think blockchain has its uses. I think crypto has its uses for proof of work for some things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think energy is one of those things.
Do you want to tell people what a blockchain is?
I have no idea what a blockchain is.
Oh!
Do you know what a blockchain is?
I thought you knew what a blockchain was, so I was too embarrassed to say I didn't know.
I know what it's meant to do.
Oh, okay. Well, what tell us that then.
So the idea with energy is that if you use blockchain, you have proof of what you've put into the grid, and you can track it somehow, and you have proof of what you've taken out of the grid. The flaw with that argument, as far as I'm concerned, is everyone who's connected to the grid has got a meter that is highly regulated, that is proof of what's gone into the grid and proof of what's come out of the grid. So blockchain is completely redundant. And this idea that you can track your energy from your grid to someone else's grid is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, basically yes. So you've already got electricity meters measuring the energy going in and out of your home, and that is what you're going to be charged on. If you put a blockchain meter on your home, they're not going to use that meter instead of the official one that's already there, sorry. And yeah, you can't send energy to your cousin in Albany using a blockchain. That's not how the grid works. Under consumer guarantees, we have this thing which says products and services must actually do what you say they do. Anyone telling you they can send your solar energy to your cousin is lying. What they're doing is sending them a bill for their services, which is unnecessary.
Let's talk about blockchain in energy specifically. What are the disadvantages?
Blockchain is just a method of having transactions without a central register. So you and I can send stuff to each other and be secure without anyone else being involved. Sounds great, but because no one's in control and because it's a blockchain, it tends to be slower, less user-friendly, more energy intensive, even if it's well designed, because you've got a lot of files, a lot of blocks to transmit through the internet. And there's no central control, so it's very hard to troubleshoot, fix things, or improve things. So yeah, it basically comes down to, if I call something blockchain, can I get money out of you for it? Because it's not going to offer you a service that improves whatever you're doing already, whether it's sending solar energy into the grid or buying energy from the grid or from using a VPP.
So Ronald and I reckon blockchain for energy trading is bullshit. We're humble, we're open to be persuaded otherwise, but if you can persuade Ronald that blockchain can add value to energy, I promise you Ronald will eat his hat. What do you reckon, Ronald?
What?
Show us your hat.
You've got to be joking.
Looks delicious. Come on, guys.
You can eat it, not
I want
me.
to see him sat at the table with a knife and fork, chewing on that thing.
Man, you know, I've done a lot for you, but this is the limit. I'm not eating my goddamn helmet.
Well, someone will have to convince you that blockchain for energies adds value first.
Oh, okay, then, you know, then it's looking a little bit more appetizing.
You can do it, viewers.
Can I have a chocolate helmet?
I want to end today's show with an innovation at SolarQuotes that I'm super proud of. Before I got into solar, I was an engineer. I designed control systems from nuclear power plants to coal mines. My first proper business was selling a guide to tuning control loops that I wrote. It did pretty well. When I started SolarQuotes, I wondered if it was possible to apply control theory to the solar buying process. Now hear me out. Control theory is all based on the concept of feedback loops. You constantly get feedback from sensors in the real world, and you adjust your inputs to correct any problems. It's that simple. In 2009, I realized that to remove the problem of bad installers from the solar buying process, I needed to build a fast-acting feedback loop. That feedback was consumer reviews of solar installers. So, against my lawyer's firm advice, seriously, I actively asked everyone who visited the website to leave a review of the installer they chose. When we get bad feedback about an installer in the SolarQuotes network, we jump into action and find out what went wrong. On the rare occasion that the installer has done the wrong thing and is not prepared to make it right, we do remove that installer from the network. That feedback loop has been running for over a decade, and we're about to hit 60,000 reviews. That is a lot of data points. What we've realized is that the pruning of our network in this way has resulted in very few installation issues these days, despite the fact that we dispatch about 20,000 quotes per month. That's given us the confidence to formalize a guarantee, one that we've actually informally had since we started. It's called the SolarQuotes Good Installer Guarantee. We're proud of our network of heavily vetted solar installers and the quality of their work. In the unlikely event that you use our Get Quote service, choose one of our referred installers and they do not deliver a well-installed system to the specification promised, we will work with you and the installer to resolve any issues with the system. In the even more unlikely event that one of our referred installers still do not install what they promised, we will engage another installer at our cost to make it right. Thanks for watching SolarQuotes TV Episode 8, the Innovation episode. Tune in next month for Episode 9. I have no idea what it will be about, because I'm totally out of ideas. Anyone got any good ideas? Ronald?
Chocolate.
Of course. Well, thanks again for having us. And don't forget to follow us on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If you want to send in some chocolate for Ronald, the address is 3/39 Grenfell Street, Adelaide 5000. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You won't miss the next episode. Thanks, guys. See you next month.